welcome to Chronicles number 18. We've got a lot of really awesome cannabis immigrants joining us here today. We're here with Axel from CannaReps, Fernanda, and Pete from Muse. We're going to be doing some blind identification today, full on blind. This means that none of these folks have seen what these flowers are. They're on the market. All these people work in the market, selling product all day long. They're students of the market. I want to see how sharp your cannabis sommelier skills are. You have to know product and you need to be a student of the market. A lot of people know quality, but they're not out there looking at product all day. So I want to see if it's possible that these cultivars that I've selected can be identified completely blind without any exposure. Now, if you don't get it, it's not a big deal because I would probably fail on all of these, right? They're challenging, but not impossible to get because they are distinct and there's not too many people growing them. That's how I've selected them. So anyways,
I'm excited, I want to try that.
We're gonna start with number one. That's all you get, number one. Check it out. What's it look like to you?
It's chunky, it's a bit fluffy, it's not as super compact as
Take it out.
it looks like.
Give it a squeeze. What's it smell like? What's it smell like? What's it look like?
I'm gonna take a bit and pass it to the next one.
Very far.
So it's not a loud smell for sure. It's a bit like dirty, sweet, some like earthiness too. Looks very Afghan to me.
I would completely agree with
Looks
you.
very Afghan to me, and
But there's something going on with the nose that's very indicative of lineage, a specific type of lineage within that Afghan gamut. You've started on the right foot, my friend. You've started on the right foot.
because honestly,
I was almost getting something a bit more berry than
berry.
the
I'm wondering if
kind
it's
of-
the Northern berry from up 20.
Oh, you jumped the gun and you went straight for the jugular. It isn't, but the lineage is connected.
Is it the?
Is it the black cherry punch by Pure Sunflower?
It is not.
No,
it doesn't have the
it's sweeter.
coloration.
It's sweeter too.
It doesn't have the color. Right away, your eyes should steer you away from cherry punch, right?
Yeah.
I've just seen some of the Pure Sun stuff looking a little bit more green, but
Lighter
yeah,
coloration,
yeah, definitely.
It does have a bit of berry. It does have, but the berry's got a particular type of definition to it. You know, something happened with that berry that makes it not so berry anymore.
No. There is more. Like there is a sourness to these berries. There is like a
Sourness?
richness.
Okay.
I got it's almost like a citrus on the first smell too.
Yes, almost like a citrus. Yeah.
Trying to see who's position.
When we have that like earthy, funky citrus, what type of terpene profile are we usually talking about?
Oh, Marcin.
Myrcene is a player.
Beta-carotene limonene. No.
Sorry?
Limonene, beta-carotene.
Limonene and beta-caryophyllene. Well, you just hit the two primary terpenes.
Yeah, I know. I smell them.
Yeah.
I can't put a name on this cultivar.
Well, let's think about that. What cultivar is very typically beta-caryophyllene followed by limonene? What lineage really typically?
Haze Afghan.
Haze Afghan crosses do that. What specific one? It's actually, there's one specific lineage that is pretty much always beta-caryophyllene dominant with
The
limonene.
lemon berry.
Super close.
Oh,
Oh my
it's
god,
not
all
the-
of you are so close!
Lemon berry is whiter. It's like more whiter.
Yeah,
more like
It
lemon.
didn't look like it, that's why I haven't said it yet, but
So, you've taken your guess.
Yeah.
It was close, but no. Is there anybody else who wants to give it a stab? What and from whom? It's something that is not like a huge producer, so it's not always available. Okay, so some of you might not ever have had a chance to try this, and maybe not even something too close to it. Although I would be very surprised if my UK friend here hadn't had a lot of this in the past.
oh, it's a cheek.
Oh!
Which cheese is
So
this?
let's think about
smell
it.
this?
So let's think about it. Oh my god! I know. It's barely there, right?
It's barely
Yeah.
here, yeah.
It's barely there. The citrus comes out more. The sweetness,
And
the sweet
dirt,
citrus comes
you
out
have,
more.
you have a dirtiness to it.
and there's dirt. It's not as cheesy as a lot of my students have described it to me in the past. What cheese is there on the market right now that we know of? There's not too many.
The bee banner? Is it the bee banner? This is the bee banner? I never smoked it, but I was expecting something louder from it.
Oh, no, sorry, this isn't the bee banner. It's not the bee banner.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
I was like, it has to be louder.
No, this is another cheese cross, and it's one of, you just mentioned though, probably the cheesiest one. I've smelled that one. That one's like loud cheese.
Exactly.
Loud cheese. I'm gonna bring out the packaging.
Who's producing the cheese again?
I don't know, Bazan did a sour cheese.
Is it the sour OG cheese from Bazan?
The sour OG cheese from Bazan.
I tried it. I smoked it. Yeah, I tried that.
Check out the first two terpenes on that label. Yes, but there's not a lot of it. There's not a lot of it. Usually you're going to have a lot more total terpene content, so it's not. By looking at that, you know it's not going to be too loud because the total is at 2%. They're probably testing at a 60 terpene test lab. There's very few people that aren't doing that nowadays. Everybody's got on the wavelength. So it's very rare to have a 2%er at 60 terpenes be super loud, right?
Yeah.
It's like, if you think about it, this would have scored like a 1.2 or a 1.4 at a 40 or a 20 test lab, right? So that's a typical analysis that we're used to.
Yeah.
So again, just by the stats, I know it's not going to be totally loud. I was hoping for it to be a little bit more cheesy, more grabby, but you know what? Even though it was a little flat on the nose,
And no sourness.
all of you know, there's no. This is the thing. It went super Afghan. This cross went super Afghan. They're not retaining a lot of the cheesiness. They're not retaining a lot of the diesel. They're not the citrus from the New York sour diesel lines.
Neither the pine from the OG, you know, it's like.
So it's one of these crosses that's a little bit mudded out. That's the term I like to use, where you've lost a lot of the desirable qualities from both of the mother lineages, and there's not a substantial nuance to it. There's not something that makes you go, oh, that thing is that thing.
You end up with the blend, something blend that doesn't taste really like one profile or one like funkiness that come out from the cross, you know, it's just like a blend of this like dirt and a bit of citrusy, a bit of berry, but nothing like stellar.
Yeah. But you were all so close, right? Because Afghans, berries, what does the cheese line come from? You guys know that, the answer to the question?
The Afghan line, no?
Afghan lines, but what specific ones?
Is it the skunk one?
No.
No?
Well, there is some skunk number one in there, but not really that much.
It's Afghan number one.
No.
Northern Light.
No. The flow lines.
The flow temple line and everything.
The temple line, which is derived from blueberry DJ Short's work.
Yeah, you're right.
That's where cheese came from. And if you think about it, when you get a really good blueberry, it's got that almost gassy quality to it, but it's like got this sharp, it's not citrus, but it's got this sharp fruitiness. It's a loud fruit, it's a grabby fruit. And the terpene profiles are very similar. The beta-caralphaline, limonene, linalool comes out, and linalool combined with limonene gives you this very loud, beautiful thing going on. We're gonna do one more. Okay, people, we have a second cultivar that we are going to be doing our blind ID with. It's number 2. That's all you get. Bag number 2. You don't see the number 2 anymore because I rubbed it off there. I'm sorry, but it's number 2. Trust me.
Can
looks very different.
Can I just give it a shot like this without smelling?
Oh, you're gonna don it?
You're gonna don it. Is it the Montreal Silver Tower?
No, not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close. It does look like it.
It looks like
but you're right. It looks like it. That would have been too easy. I wouldn't have done that for you.
Yeah, the nose is not the Sergeant Sour for sure.
No,
there is not that sourness.
No, and that nose is also, the look is too easy, the smell is too easy, there's nothing like it on the market. You know, the Sage and Sour is...
Very terpenol and dominant.
Oh,
you got a nice gas, it's like a lilac diesel or something like this, you know?
I'm gonna go round up the packaging.
Looks like very like lilac diesel. It's lilac diesel for sure.
Yeah. Who grew it then?
A bit of skunkiness, some citrus, some sourness.
They didn't put the terps on the label, but already I agree with you. 150%. I agree with you. Terpenoline likely in the front, maybe it's limonene. Very difficult sometimes to tell because depending on what other...
I don't know, it's sharper because I found terpenoline goes sometimes into the sourness, whereas the limonene is more into like the orange peel and stuff. And here I got this sourness coming from it, you know. So this is what I see.
Okay.
Looks like a lilac diesel or something like this to me.
Yeah, I think it's Sitka microgrows one.
Oh,
because it's not the organic craft.
No, it's not the organic craft, and either it's the high street. It's not the high street one.
High street.
Okay, you're all throwing names out already. Fernanda, do you have an inclination?
Yeah, well, I get Citizen Lemon for sure, and it kind of reminds me of the old Lemon Z Citizen Stash had, and
Oh my
it
god!
used to be one of my favorites.
You're so close.
It's not the one
That's
from
so
OG.
crazy how
It's not
close
the
you
OG
are.
one.
Are you sure?
I don't think it's the OG one. Oh, no, the OG. At least the one I tried was more gassy, more gas into it.
When you blazed it or when you squeezed
Oh,
it?
Was
when
it
I
the
blazed
Love
it,
Hate?
right?
Hmm?
It's not the Love Haze, the bud
It's
coat.
not the Love Haze. Not the Love Haze. That is a lot more hazy than this is. You know, it's got more earth and citrus, fresh cut grass, sweetness.
Because yeah, there is a skunkiness behind. There is like a earthiness. There is a twist, you know.
Okay, okay. I've heard enough.
Yeah. We want to know.
Is there anybody here that has a final word that they want to throw down as to what you feel? So if you had to pick the genetic behind this plant, if you had to say, generally speaking, what is this? What would you say? Best guess.
Something super lemon, super citrus, cross with like something with a bit of sourness and like then an Afghan, like to give like this background in the nose, this skunkiness.
So you're saying mostly Afghani and haze genetics back there. Okay. Anybody
Maybe
else?
some OG.
Maybe some OG.
Maybe
Okay.
from
So you're smelling maybe some cushiness in the back.
Yeah, there is a
Yeah,
smell.
that
Yeah.
hazy like OG smell that you sometimes get from some female.
I
So-
know it's there's something fruity on the back too, so I would say it's something. It reminds me of
Skittles.
Skittles.
Yeah,
Just like some
Lemon
grape
Z.
vape.
Lemon Z
or
is a good
grape
pick,
fruit,
actually.
something like
Okay, so you think like Skittles kind of OG kind of
Yeah.
genetics, and is there anybody who wants to say, I know it's this from this producer? Anybody? No?
I'm gonna try the Lemon Z OG.
You're very
OG.
close.
Yeah.
You're very close. That's a good guess.
Yeah.
That's a good guess. I'd never seen this before today. It was recommended to me by the bud tender at the shop where I went to. Shout out Bohemian. We are looking at the F-Pog from Citizen Stash.
Oh!
Fruity Pebbles OG
Oh my god.
from
okay.
Citizen Stash.
Really?
Wow.
Okay, I never tried this, but I've heard about it.
Let's
I'm excited to
look
try.
for the terpene profile online really quickly. Let's do that.
Let me.
Let's do that because I agree that I think this is either limonene, terpenoline dominance with myrcene and beta-carotene as co-secondaries, and for tertiary, I'm not going to go that far, but that's what I think is on there, according to the nose. I would have had a lot of difficulty getting this one because I haven't actually seen this before today, but it screams the line. So I've had a lot of experience with it. The moisture, man, they did such a good
It's
job.
way
on it.
better than the one I tried, quite
Holy
honestly.
lord,
Yeah.
dude. They've improved this skew is a big step up from the last ones.
Yeah.
The moisture, the nose, the correctness, dude, is so on point. And I would have almost gone sour tangy with the nose, but if you squeeze enough, there's something else going on. It's deep in there, but I do agree. I think it's limonene is more likely I do get more. You went terpenoline. I'm going limonene.
Yeah.
I'm going limonene.
Let me check it
Yeah,
out.
I'm going hard on limonene actually because I smell.
It's a sourness too, like, but
But lemon, you could be
Oh,
right.
there's lots of caryophyllene, some farnesene, the limonene for sure.
Limonene.
Yeah,
you're right.
limonene, diabolol and others combined with it.
Diabolol.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we have it.
Tao G Alien Kush Grundali.
I'm really impressed and satisfied with how this went. You were all really close. Really, really close.
And the look looks like the Sash and Sour, you know, without this nose. It's
does.
crazy.
Yeah. Oh, we have to blaze this in a moment. This
Yeah,
is gonna be
definitely.
spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
I
God.
hope it's burn white. It's my, you know, I have been
No.
like trying so much stuff
No,
recently
no,
with
dude.
burnt black. I'm so
Looks and
scared right
feels
now.
good quality already.
I have this third sense about it. I'm telling you, this motherfucker's gonna
It's
burn
gonna be
delicious. It's just the bud structure, the nose, the amount of nose that it has. It doesn't have this rigidness in the bud structure that I would expect from something that would still have good nose but not burn so well. It's just got the right feel. I'm putting my pretty penny on the fact that if we graded this today, this would score somewhere around 90, 91.
Let's give it a grade, you know what?
We're gonna do it
Let's
today.
give it a grade.
But before that, we need to talk about how we all got here and we need to do some dabs.
And I think you prepared one from
There
one.
was one ready for you.
Today, Pete's got some really special dabs that he made himself. Pete's the magnitude of dab head that had to get his own press, presses a lot of his own flower, and also sources a bit of fresh frozen material so he can make full melt utilizing bubble bags, and then, of course, either pressing that, but not actually pressing it through bags, right? You're just actually pressing it to break the heads and to make it all congeal together.
Yeah, definitely. Just in some parchment paper and just on the rosin press at a low temperature and low pressure. Yeah.
And that's what that is. And I will say this, that I actually prefer doing that or leaving my heads unpressed if I have a dry...
But this is through a rosin bag though. This is the 37 micron rosin bag that it's gone through. Actually 2 of them.
37 rosin bag, so you did press it through a bag.
Yeah,
this one.
that hash.
He did the hash, he pressed it the first time just to give them the consistency, and then he pressed it like to do like this rosin, this hash rosin.
So we've got some homemade specialness today, but we've also got a couple of market stuff that I've collected. I've got some Fido over there. It's a company that used to be around before the age of regulation. So you know, last time I was like pulling from the wrong end of this thing. This is a complicated contraption. Is there something that I need to do to?
So we're gonna put that 435 Fahrenheit, double click.
They don't have Celsius. Eh? Damn these people.
And then you just
I had to convert
hold it here, and you're gonna have to hit it from here and not from here like you did
Thank
last
you.
time.
Yeah, thank you. I'm surprised I didn't burn my mouth.
Yeah.
So it'll take some time. As soon as I see some vapor coming out, that's when I start toasting,
From
right?
here,
Yeah.
Like you can stop.
And that's like the best flavor as well you're gonna get.
Again, that's the homemade
Island sweet scone.
Island sweet scone, oh my God.
From fresh frozen.
so much fresh cut grass
Yeah.
and tropical fruits.
Yeah, all that flavor retained. Yeah.
And then it changes so much as the temperature increases gradually.
Yeah.
You start to get more pine, you start to get more woods.
I am told a legit Breeder Steve cut as well that went into this. Shout out Breeder Steve.
Wow, that's really impressive, man.
Big shout out.
Amazing work. It's so smooth.
So nice.
It's so retain the actual flavor of the cultivar. Whose turn is it? Oh, I'm gonna get some cleaning wipes.
Oh yeah. That's what the Q-tips are for.
Coño, it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, you have a nice
it
dab in
stops
here.
now. Yeah.
It's
just
still delicious at the
still
end. Oh my God. Well, I'll leave any in there.
I couldn't stop hitting it last
No
time.
leftover. Yeah, exactly.
So it's not going to be hot or anything, and it's not going to have resin?
Not the bottom really, yeah. This bit's like definitely hot. Obviously it's been up to that temperature, but you know, just kind of clean it
Oh,
out one of these
the
guys.
Aspire, right? And you said this was like the best.
Yeah.
I Aspire, and it's like the best value for a...
It generally runs in like we sell it at Muse for like $230, not a shameless plug, but and that's generally cheaper than most e-rigs on the market. I don't work for this company, I just really love this device.
It's handy.
You can use it on any kind of glass rig and stuff, so yeah, you can literally like bring it to your buddy's house just with the cones and use his real nice hand-blown glass piece if he has it, you know.
And so it comes with this circular, what do you call these?
It's just like a cup, yeah, essentially.
The cup, and then the inside is metal, and it works in conjunction with the actual heating
Yeah, it's
device.
actually magnets, yeah, so it's in magnetic induction e-nail, so yeah, uses
Magnetic
that.
induction e-nail. Wow,
Yeah.
that's so dope, man.
I find it a lot easier than using a blowtorch though, quite honestly.
Yeah. It's
And a little bit
it's
less
safer.
dangerous, right?
Yeah, it's safer, it's handy, you can bring it everywhere.
That's it.
And like it's fast, you see, you didn't wait that much.
The precision is the whole thing, right? It's
Mhm,
precision. I also don't mind that it heats up gradually, although like I like getting everything in one toke,
Yeah,
like just
okay.
heating it up. So like if I let it heat up and then I put it down after it's heated, will it
Yeah,
give me
you
the
can
full temp?
absolutely like whip this out and then do it like a hot dab if you'd prefer, and then just
Yeah.
put this in afterwards.
That's
hit it.
what I'm gonna be doing next time.
Yeah.
That would be good for the show.
Because yeah, here it's
definitely,
like flavor are layered, you know, it's like you got the sweet at the beginning, then the pine, then the gas.
Yeah, I just love those sippy first hits. Like I don't hit it hard to start with, and I wait till it's like fully heated to start hitting
Super
it.
tasty. So what is that?
This is the Fido Pink Kush Shadow Extractions again, they've got the catchphrase, the legacy continues, they are a legacy brand. Yeah, they weren't known for being the highest grade legacy brand, but absolutely they were there and they were doing quality. There's no question about it. What I mean by quality is like, you know, they are known for more shatter type formats, and it's rare to find a sap coming from them, and still right now they've launched and they're doing shatter. I actually don't think there's enough shatter on the market personally.
I do agree with you.
Compared to grey market days, right? Like,
You were shadow all over the place.
It makes me really stoked to see somebody come across the line that was on the other side, and they're still doing what they used to do right. They're not doing what everybody else is doing. So I respect that, and I expect nothing less than to see beautiful coloration, an actual shatter consistency. Look, this is exactly what I'm finding. And that's what that looks like. So,
what's the 13%? Does it have it on there?
you know what? It does not have it on here. Oh no, they do. I am mistaken. 3.3%. So, folks, what do you feel about that in a concentrate format?
3.3%.
For shadow, it's pretty standard. I'd say like 3 and 5 is like what you generally look at, like between
Yeah,
there.
you're right.
Yeah.
Well, you're right that when you have a lower terp content, you will have more of that chattery consistency typically, depending, of course, on how you finished it. But you can definitely get significantly more and still keep it chattery. It might start turning a bit pull and snap, a little battery, a little taffy. Yeah, so I'm not expecting to have too much of the flavor of the original cultivar, right? I'm definitely expecting to have a nice, smooth, awesome toke that's going to get me real high. I'll also say that they have a Death Bella that I saw, which was priced a bit higher. Have either one of you tried that?
No, yeah.
I've tried them both. Yeah.
Oh, which one you prefer?
I find them pretty comparable.
Yeah?
yeah.
Very
Both of them had just a bit of gas to it. It wasn't like a major terpene explosion in my mouth. So yeah, pretty comparable.
Yeah,
Nice,
it's solid, it's reliable, it's what this brand has always been, really. It's like, it wasn't ever the most expensive thing on the counter, so it's not like you're paying for like some top cola sappy, like, oh my god, it's crazy combo sap. That's not what these people do. It's a company that does reliable shatter formats. It's going to be clean, it's going to be yummy, it's not going to have any character that you're like, that's not a shatter. They're going to do what they promise, which is more than what most companies are doing.
Exactly.
Right? So,
And as you said, they've been doing this for a while in the grey market and everything, so they have the experience, they know what they're doing, they just keep on doing things right. So.
Exactly.
With a
Exactly.
license stuff. That's it.
Yeah. Shout out to everyone down there, that whole team. I know all of them, well, not all of them, several of them individually. And it's a great team of people. So yeah, like I said, it makes me really happy to see them come over the line, keep doing what they're doing. I'm stoked to try this.
Yeah, give it a try. It's it doesn't have too much of a nose. It's a bit sweet,
No.
I would say, you know.
No, but here's the deal. That dab I just did, it makes me this kind of uncomfortable high.
Yeah, it's sweet. Island sweet skunk, you know.
Honestly, it's not very terpenoline or limonene dominant, depending on which one you have. What do you think this one is that you have, or by the way, what do you think that your profile is?
I'd say it's like terpenoline for me. Like it has that really like sweet hazy
I would
kind
agree
of
with you.
flavor, which I get from it.
Yeah, you
I
remember
find
when
it delicious though. Like it does make me a little on that kind of. I smoke a lot of indica, and this is kind of the opposite. But it also gets me real high, and I was good at Halo. So,
You know, I bet you there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh fuck, these people are from CannaReps, you're talking indica. Right? It's so funny because, sometimes we use that terminology to indicate the generalized aroma profile, knowing that not everything fits within that genealogy. But I need to do this because it's going to get me the kind of stone that I need for me, right? So it's going to get my mind back on track. Yeah, well, you know what? It's only going to thicken this toke here. I got no hand for the chips.
Yeah, that's it. You're running out of.
you get it now.
You be an octopus though. That's really nice. That's really nice. It's strong as fuck, I like it. It is exactly the effect and the flavor that I was looking for. Like I said,
Back on track.
makes me happy.
Yeah,
What's the
shadow
flavor?
always hits me different. Yeah.
Hits me different. Kush hits me a bit different. The kushness is not really that much. It tastes really the dirt and the dry grass
Mhm.
is very in the front.
Okay.
So it's, yeah, I would actually say that Mercy and Bedekar Hufflin are probably in the front there. And yeah, the stone is exactly what I needed, but the flavor of that pink is a little goners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As you would
that's sweet
expect.
gas. man.
And people that say that shatter can never retain the flavor of the original cultivar, I'm like, well, if you run tops, yeah, it does. And you don't always get sap if you're running a pink, for example. Pinks are much less likely to go highly sappy than, for example, a Congo.
Mhm.
You run your Congo right, you run top cola, it's going to be beautiful sap.
Yeah.
The sappiest sap.
And also because like the Congo is gonna have less THC in the cultivar too, you know, so more place
Another
for
component.
more space for the terps and
And other
it's
stuff.
liquid.
Yeah, the esters and everything else, for sure.
Mhm.
Ooh.
It's quite of a high, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's not that I dislike the high. Like, if I didn't have any product, I would be dabbing that all day. But if I have this shit next to me, and I already know that my body likes that, I don't know how to describe it. That makes my skeletal structure tighten.
Stressing out, you know, like.
And it can bring out the pain, because I deal with pain, right? I've got like
Yeah.
shoulder stuff and knee stuff, back stuff. And this makes my body, the skeletal structure loosen. So I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can start really feeling the relaxation and the
Yeah.
muscles start to.
Yeah, that terpenoline, that high terpenoline profile does something to me that I just don't really like. And it doesn't matter if it's concentrate or flower or which flower.
Yeah.
If terpenoline dominance is very substantial, it just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
It does gives me a little bit of it's not an anxious feeling, but it's kind of like uneasy. Like I need
Tense.
to do something.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
I
feel
need to-
tense. Yeah, I do agree with that. Yeah.
A lot of people will be like, well, yeah, but wouldn't that be better to be active in this? I'm like, no, dude, I need my skeletal structure to be loose to be active. If
Yeah.
I'm like tight, I'm not actually.
I'm not going anywhere. Yeah.
I didn't get my pain treated, right? I need this one to make my pain treated. It's weird.
But I feel also that's why a lot of like recreational smokers love that because it's a bit of that creepy high and makes them, you know, like want to do stuff and or like trip on some music because it can really help like, you know, like get into something.
Different folks,
Exactly.
different strokes. And I
Different
think that like,
crowd.
that's actually something that I like, that's why I wanted to do this session for so long with people from other parts of the world. So cool because we each represent a totally different scene here. Like, and I've spent time in your scene, but I've never spent time in either one of your scenes.
Yeah.
And knowing, like, for example, one question that I wanted to start today with is like, I had several moments that made me change the way that I looked at the plant. And obviously it happens when you find a plant that you're like, oh my God, what is that?
Yeah.
So I'd like to, we'll start with UP, like what was that plant, what was that moment where you're like, holy fuck, this thing is just, this is for me.
The click.
Yeah.
Coming from the UK, we don't get too many name strains at all. Well, at least where I was growing up. So when I went away to university in Birmingham, it's like one of the bigger cannabis areas in the UK. The first night of university, I met one of my still good friends, Tom Tyrrell, the Riddler. He's a good rapper. Check him out. He gave me some White Widow. It was my first experience of White Widow. He brought it with him from his hometown Leicester, and that was how we made friends, and we're friends to this day. So that plant pretty much spoke to me at that point. But from that, like blueberries and cheeses as well were like the two that we'd always get. And if you could get blue cheese, then everyone was a
combination. That's amazing.
Wow, man. Yeah, do you remember, this is something I like to do always, do you remember what that flavor profile was for that original Widow that you had?
I don't, man.
You know,
I was
yeah,
drunk.
it's okay.
It was more the friendships that I made on that night. And like, it's some of my closest friends in
It's
this
crazy
world.
how like cannabis can just connect to people and like click them together just for the love of this same product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely remember the cheeses and the blue cheeses, though. Yeah, that's those are aromas that get impregnated. Once it's in your brain.
That was more common though. The White Widow was a rarity. Like
Rarity, yeah.
Blueberries and cheeses we could get pretty often. But yeah, finding White Widow. I don't think I saw White Widow again. Maybe until I came to Canada. Yeah.
So the Exodus group was really influential in bringing all those blueberry cuts and those cheese cuts to fruition. And for those of you that don't know about what Exodus means, Exodus, when you hear Exodus cheese, it was a group of really hardcore DIY anarchist hippies that were basically squatting in a lot of the flats outside of London, in London, all over the UK. It was a group of people that had a lot of connection to the Rastafarian community down there. So they teach that tradition in the UK, which is rare. Rastafarian culture is its own thing, right? That's where that shit came from. So before you got your hands on it, those people brought early 90s, really late 80s. Remember that plant was created in 1978, right? Blueberry. Original.
1978? Oh
Yeah.
shit, I didn't know
Original
that.
blueberry,
Really
78
early.
is
Wow.
when it's released, right? And that's
Awesome.
why, look, blueberry was so far ahead of its time
Yeah.
that everybody who knew weed at the time said, okay, this is, it's like when Purple Kush came out, that before then there wasn't a lot of Kush in this market. Everybody first tried Kush, they're like, damn, this is the new thing now, right? So it was that moment. And so that, I love hearing those stories from the UK, man, for that, because when I went there, I hung out with all that drum and bass and jungle crew, and all those people used to play at those parties, at those squatter parties, right? So that, those squatter parties, best parties I've ever been to in my life were illegal parties in London, dude. Anyways, that's the last thing I'll say.
What years was it when you really had this clip?
That would have
this
been
guy?
like 2007 probably, yeah. I think it was like the big year for me. Like I'd smoked a bit before then, but like this was when I really got into like the group of people that I was with. We all bonded through cannabis. I started learning more about it. A lot of things that weren't true, but you know, this is always the way.
Yeah, especially in an illegal country, you know.
Yeah.
You know the
So
way.
I'm still correcting, but like it was just a great thing for us to all bond through and have good times.
So you got like a good 14 years old of cannabis behind you.
Yeah.
That's
Lots of
great, man.
experience every day.
That's quite an experience.
Do you mix your weed with tobacco back home, or did you smoke all cannabis?
I'll be honest. Until
Yeah, thank you. Listen, I wasn't gonna see if you're gonna lie or not, because I know all you all put tobacco in your joints, okay? I know that shit.
You're
I
right,
live
man.
there.
That's the way in Europe.
I
you
know.
know.
I joined the cannabis industry, I put it with tobacco, to be honest with you.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I was notorious as that guy. They're like, don't smoke with that guy, dude. He smokes the craziest shit. He puts LSD in that, mate. Don't smoke with that.
You look like an insane person in the UK if you smoke
Oh,
pure
dude.
weed.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
like,
so
whoa.
friends, man.
That's
You're
like,
like,
yeah.
just
No, and then I am who I am, and I talk like this and stuff. They're like, dude, this guy, watch the fuck out. This guy. Anyways, Fernanda, what was that cultivar?
Well, I also come from a country where weed is not legal. So Brazil was still way behind. People are smoking brick weed.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what's in there. So from many years smoking that, I tried some AK-47 or stuff like that in Brazil, but you wouldn't really know if it was AK or not, one of those things. So as small as it sounds, when I first got to Canada and I smoked my first legal weed, it was the San Rafael Tangerine Dream. And in my head, from someone that has been smoking brick weed all my life, having something that's like the smell, the flavor, the tangerine there, it was mind blowing. That was crazy. I was like, oh my god, so this is what weed is actually all about. And from that point on, it was just like I'm hooked. It's just like I've been growing at home, but I didn't know what was that. It was sativa and indica back then, sativa and indica. But yeah, and then I got here, I was like, oh my god, it just like that's it. That's how it should be. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's and so that AK-47. Did you like? Was that? What year would you say that was? I remember the year that I got it.
Yeah.
Do you remember what year it was?
It was something about 2015, 16.
Oh,
yeah,
late.
something
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
cool. AK-47 got, and all of the AK-47 derivatives, like the White Russian. White Russian was really big in Vancouver, probably like 2006, 2007, 2008. But AK-47 really hit its peak in the 90s, really. The Dutch bring it hard.
Yeah.
And did you ever get manga rosa?
I have never.
Yeah, remember you told me this in class. I remember I asked you this in
my
class.
gosh.
That's
Manga rosa, for those of you who don't know, manga rosa is like the most legendary, prodigious jungle sativa. That's how we Latinos refer to it. It comes from the Amazonian jungles. It is this low-lying. It's not like so. Okay, so I've heard there's phenos that are not so tall, and there's some that are monstrous.
Yeah.
Okay, and apparently the short one. This, and I don't know because I'm not from Brazil, and this is only what like some friends have told me. They're like, that short one is the more desirable one. The tall one is very nice and everything. But if you can get that short one, it finishes a little bit quicker than the tall one. And apparently it's just it's got more of that funk. You know how that manga rosa, if you've ever had it, has almost gas to it, but it's like fruit gas. It's like it's so sharp. It's so sharp. Mango, that is like mango, more mango than mango is. It's kind of like that blueberry thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Blueberry from DJ Short, I say it's like, it smells more like blueberries than blueberries themselves. It's so intense, you know? So manga rosa for me is, I tried it like one time, and I've been on the hunt for it ever since.
Yeah, it's
Ever
so
since.
hard to find. Like even in Brazil, for me, I used to live in the south and it was from north, so it was impossible to get. But even like many people that consume there are just like, no, I'm trying to get my hands on it, and just like it's nowhere.
Yeah, it's in the north.
Yeah, it's in the north for sure.
Where are you from?
From the south.
No,
Like,
I'm
the
there.
last state, I was like, oh my god,
No.
please someone get it to
No,
me.
and the Northerners have told me that they're like, no, dude, even a little bit further south from where we are,
Yeah.
it doesn't grow the same.
And how long does
No,
it
no.
take to grow? Like it's like a 10-week, 12-week?
10, well, depends which one you have, because manga rosa is a land race, and really what we're talking about is a heirloom. And heirlooms, if seed form in a region, you're going to have a variety of
Yeah,
phenotypes.
yeah, of course, makes sense.
So yeah, there are some that are not so mango and they go more dirt. At least I've heard, like I've only had the one that I was like, mango! And I was like, I cannot believe it. Because then, you know how there's mango haze, there's all this stuff on the market, and you're like,
It's
it's a
barely
mango.
mango-ish.
Where is it? I can smell it. You know, anyways. Yeah, that's, if you ever hear of it, you know who to call.
Yeah. Right away.
Please hook a brother up, please.
Yeah.
Did you go back to to Brazil
Yeah.
since you've been working in the industry here and have you
Not
smoked
yet.
weed there?
I've been here for 3 years and I'm so afraid of going back home and seeing what I have there. Because really, I don't know if I'm going to be able to smoke something. It's probably going to be some hash or something like that,
my
so I can
God.
be safer, but
I did
I'm
the
very
same
much
thing.
afraid. Yeah.
No, you've done a terrible disservice to yourself.
yeah, I came to Canada.
You're gonna go home, it's gonna be so hard to survive.
yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Every time I go home to Mexico, I'm like, so I had to recently select some seeds because things are changing in my country, and like finally I can source some seeds for my mom and dad and my stepdad. So soon, in like maybe 6 months, I'll have good weed. But my family's been growing for a while, but Mexican seeds, heirloom seeds, and
Yeah. Dirt.
just
Yeah.
you said it, dirt.
Yeah.
What was that cultivar?
Whew, I think it was, I can't remember my first cultivar, but one cultivar that really shocked me.
Yeah.
It was actually two, but the first one was called El Nino.
Aye.
As I was telling you,
Congolese cross.
it's bred by Arjan and greenhouse seed.
Fantastic plant.
Oh, and so back in the day, like you, Pete, I was smoking with tobacco. It was like, 2014, something like this.
Juanita la Lagrimosa is back there, I think, too.
And yeah, I was drumming with my band, and after the show, you know, we either rolled that El Nino, and I smoked it, and it was just like incredible, like what it did to me and stuff. And because I was hanging with those guys who were really into weed, I just basically starting to learn from them and be like, oh, why is this one is called like this? And he was like showing me a bit to recognize, and then the love story just started and begin. And I was lucky back in France. I was living next to Spain, like just 1 hour from Spain. So don't tell my mom, but I used to have like friends, you know, going to Barcelona and stuff and bringing the good weed. So I had like the chance to like try also good cheese. The second cultivar was the cheese, man.
Yeah. In
I
Barcelona?
had it.
Yeah.
I had it one time
Popular.
back in France, and even with the tobacco, like the flavor profile, I was like, "What the fuck happening?" It's like, wow! I was like,
Okay,
Like-
so we have another tobacco smoker here.
Yeah, back in the
of
day,
course,
France.
Of course.
and then because I wasn't smoking cigarettes, I start to like buy my own weed, like from my friends with the good connection, and like, put less and less tobacco into the joint, and really like stop.
Phase it out.
Exactly.
English boys like, yeah, man, it's the same thing.
Every time you go home, your friends kind of notice it more and more.
Yeah,
And they're like,
And at one point, like my friend was like, "Stop rolling with my weed. You're taking too much of my weed. And you're putting too much weed into the joint." But I was the one rolling well, so they're like, "Fuck you," you know.
Take less, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
Take less stuff,
Just
leave more for me.
Exactly.
So I would tell people.
And so yeah, this is why I was like, okay, I wanna learn English. Which country I
Oh
wanna go?
shit, okay.
And Canada just say like we legalized. So I was like, oh, I know where I'm going now.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Wow. El Nino, have either one of you had El Nino before?
No, never.
No. They don't put tobacco in. You're like Mexicans,
No.
right?
Yeah,
okay,
don't
good.
put tobacco
God,
flavors, not
it's
at
very
all.
sweet.
Never
but only
No, no, with brickweed you can't do it.
No, it's
that would be
already-
crazy. That
It's
would be
already
madness.
mixed
Yeah.
with seeds
Yeah,
and
yeah, exactly.
branches.
It's already diluted. You don't need to put anything in
Yeah.
there. That's so crazy.
Right.
So El Nino is this like citrus punch
Oh, yeah, it's
face.
super
It's
citrus.
like, but it's like citrus with the Afghan dirt, not gas.
Almost like
But it's got the density of the Afghan. It's got this thing, you see it and you're like, it doesn't look like this elongated haze, but it tastes like that haze. It's
and
just
it's so
intensified.
stony. It's 10 times. It's like I remember we were like taking naps out of these joints. You know, like shit.
So it's like that super silver haze that most companies are selling that's crossed into the Tahoe OG, where people are like, oh, it smells like citrus. It's gonna be active and light and air. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Have you tasted El Nino before?
Oh man,
It's
El
like
Nino
citrus, but
kick you in the ass.
kick you
It's
in
like,
the
oh,
ass.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
it.
it's
I
like-
love it.
mhm.
I sold it in Vancouver probably from 2010 to 2013 out of a club called Eden back in the day. Eden had like, we had the best selection in town by miles. We had 50 cultivars on the table at all times. All of them sourced directly from breeders and growers and badasses in town. And El Nino occupied a really special place because a very specific type of patient went to El Nino. A lot of people that were dealing with issues with not having energy, not having desire for sex, not having desire for life, depression. El Nino is something that, you know, like a lot of hazes, just give people in the downtown east side a burst of sunlight, you know?
Some color to the life.
It's very special. Yeah, there's a lot of these names that to me are, people are like, Adolfo, how do you know it's El Nino? I'm like, well, dude, I know the guy who sourced the seeds from this specific company that was giving it to everyone. There was an entire community of people growing it, and I knew it over the transcourse of years. So there's no like, definitely there could be another plant that's like it, because that citrus dominant profile is very common, although it's kind of, it is particular. It's got a particular look to it.
Yeah.
It's.
I remember like every time we had El Nino, we were like, yeah, it's El Nino, there is no doubt. The nose was telling it, the
It's the
appearance.
kick, and the
you know,
kick, right? Because if you get that citrus with a lot of other cultivars, you don't get that kick.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, I love that cultivar base, like remembering.
Storytelling, yeah.
You know, I don't know if y'all mind. I'm gonna take another dab or something. What do we?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you want to hit this stuff?
I'm gonna roll something as of
Oh, yeah.
we're speaking
Please,
about that.
please. I'd really like to understand a little bit more about how we got here. So I know you kind of already gave that side a little bit, you know, but like, because making that choice, and I'll definitely tell my own sob story at the end of this whole thing, but making that choice to move to another country is not something that comes easy, right? There's a moment when you say, you know what, I gotta go somewhere else to do what I want to do. When was that moment?
So I kind of never really got on in my hometown too much, I'm not gonna lie. It's a small town with a very small town mentality. So I was ready to get out as soon as possible. So I kind of, yeah, as soon as I went away to university and my world got a lot bigger, as we've already spoke about. And then after that, I was like, right, I'm gonna save up some money and go traveling. Like, headed out to Australia. No, New Zealand was the first place. But
awesome.
yeah. just straight across the other side of the world. My brother did live there already, so I kind of had like that home base there. But yeah, I kind of spent the next like 6 or 7 years just traveling around from place to place. So yeah, I really enjoy like picking up everything and going somewhere new, and finding actually how easy it is to really restart your life again, get a whole new set of friends, like workplace, everything you need and stuff. It's actually a lot easier than most people give it credit for.
I would say it depends of your personality, you know, because not a lot of people can do that and adapt and change social
But that's
life.
in them, yeah, that's just in the mentality though. They could if they tried, I think. Like it's all having the will. But yeah, a lot of the places I went weren't big like cannabis places though. Like Australia and New Zealand, you're looking at like $300 to $400 an ounce, and it ain't good. Like yeah, and that's like, yeah, if you're buying ounces there, like you're selling, like that's like you're not picking, yeah, honestly, the main person's buying 2 grams and that lasts them a week, and it's bush weed and it's not great. So this is like a lot of my experience with cannabis over the years. Still, I find it funny how in like even in the smallest town in Australia, you still can find someone with a bud of weed to smoke there. Like anywhere you go, you can still find cannabis. It has touched every corner of this world, which is even a little bit. But yeah, so I spent the years going there. I had started meeting a few Canadians as they like to travel as well though, and I like started hearing about the like legendary BC buds and stuff, and like how like I don't know, smoking with a Canadian like in Australia, they're just it's not a good time because they're just telling you how shitty this weed is like, the whole time you're there basically, and you kind of know it too, but it's all you've got, so you smoke it anyway. You don't have to worry about white burn because you ain't getting it, so it's like, yeah. And then yeah, eventually I'd done the rest of the Commonwealth, so I came to Canada, and the rest is history. Yeah. The rest is history.
Did you have to smoke walkabout ever? You didn't even get the name in Australia. You don't get it.
No, you don't get a name.
Yeah.
You just get, luckily, if you get a bag of weed, like honestly, like yeah, you get what you're given.
Oh man. Well, so I guess it wasn't a difficult choice for you to go. You were ready to go.
Oh, I made it here, and the first thing I smoked when I got to Canada actually was a dab, which I'd never done before in my life. I barely knew anything about, but I stayed at the Canby. First place. I stayed at the Canby.
That's awesome.
Searched on my phone where to go and get some weed, because I heard that weed was like least medicinally legal, and thought I could talk my way into getting some weed.
Downstairs at the Canby.
The place it took me on Google was actually Hastings, Maine.
Oh!
So I went to a weed shop on Hastings, Maine, first street I walked down in
The
Vancouver.
Blue Door? You went to Blue Door Dispensary?
I literally don't know where the shop was, man. Like,
But it was like not pretty
it was
in
like
there.
a legendary
it was
shop.
hardcore.
It was pretty hardcore. There was only us in there. He says it was like a slow day, and then he was like, oh, you guys like just got off the boat. It's like, I'm gonna get you more high than you've ever been before. And he pulls out this dab rig instantly, like,
Definitely went to Blue Door.
Rex
Definitely.
Rex went up for me and my buddy.
Yeah.
We spent the next 4 hours trying to find the Canby again.
Fernanda.
Yeah. I think I got into weed in the last years of college of a university in Brazil. I have a diploma in international relations, and I've always been passionate about traveling too. But I never lived in other countries. I traveled a lot. So I was already getting into weed. I was already figuring out that smoking brickweed wasn't the best. So I was growing the seeds that I would find on the brickweed. And I started traveling to see more about this. So I'm from the south of Brazil. Uruguay just legalized, and the first thought in my head is like, I'm going. I don't care how, but I'm gonna find a way. I went to Montevideo, I went to Punta del Este, I went to many cities. And I was trying some weed around, but it was kind of hard for Brazilians to find because it's only medical for Uruguayans. But I would get some under the counter from some head shops, and the people were just like, oh, you're here for this, and take a grab, that's fine. And just like, that's how I got through. And then I went to travel to Australia. I went to Melbourne for a week. And for like coincidence, there was a hemp expo going on there just as the week I was there. So that was another part of the week for me that I saw, oh my god, that is actually a thing. It's not even legal in this country, but they're doing something just like the leaf the Leaf & Co. Expo was here. And I was like, there's all those people actually doing this, growing this, and I know I made friends with some owners of a head shop too while I was in Melbourne. And they were from Lebanon, so I was just like seeing all this weed culture around the world, and I got hooked. And then Canada legalized, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be part of this. I don't know how, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I got here in 2 months. I got my first job at the dispensary, and I've been doing this for 3 years now. Yeah, that's kind of how it went.
That's cool. You're both neo-gypsy traveling hippies.
Kind of.
I love it. You're a feather in the wind. I love that because I never got a chance. I always wanted to be like that when I was young, but I couldn't because I was too afraid. So kudos to the both of you. What about you?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, I think I was just looking for the good weed because I've been here for 6 years.
Chasing
now. Like, I spent 6 years searching, and then
So
You found it.
that's yours. That's pretty much my story. But anyways, please go ahead.
Yeah, me same, you know, back in France, small city, but I loved it. I had the mountain, I had the ocean and everything. Good weed, so I can't really complain, but
What the fuck did you do, man?
it's
No, I'm
like
kidding.
my adventurous part. I was like, okay, I've been only in Europe before, I wanna like go somewhere far, travel, speak English, meet new people, and I was like, Canada has the weed, has the English, you can travel inside Canada. So, like I was studying back in France, and I finished my study. I was like, okay, I saved a bit of money because it's been a while I'm thinking about moving. Let's move and see what happens. And my passion for cannabis just kept rising, and I was like, there is no way I'm moving out of Canada. I'm loving it too much here that I'm just gonna dedicate my life to the plant and work for it. And
But you landed on the East Coast, right?
so yeah, basically I went to Toronto, so enjoying the big city life, you know. Like I was like amazed because I was buying a weed, I was knowing the name, I was knowing the percentage, and just for me it was already a lot. And I always had this like passion for like really focusing on the flavor and be like, oh, what does this taste and stuff. And I used to go like my roommate back in Toronto like, what the fuck are you doing with the flavor? Just smoke the weed, man, and stuff like this, you know. And then I was like, okay, I discovered CannaReps, I discovered the training, and I was like, fuck, it's amazing the way they like think about weed, and this is the way. So I just decided I did like 4 months of road trip all across Canada because I needed to, you know, like explore Canada. So I, with a friend, we had a Dodge Caravan with like a bed in the back, and we went all across Canada, stopping like to a lot of dispensaries, speaking to the different guys, trying the weed from every region. This is where I tried this Gaspberry. It was during this road trip. It was back in the Rockies. I tried this weed. So just imagine you smoke an amazing weed and you have like the Rocky Mountain with like a sunset and everything. And I was just like, okay, that's
Gaspberry from Mogen?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No shit. Yeah,
I
I would
was
do
like,
that to you.
And then here I am. I basically came to Vancouver to meet Adolfo, to get educated by Adolfo and stuff. And I just went here to this place, to his home. He gave me directly like an ounce of weed, and he was like, here, smoke that and tell me what it is. And we start to really like click on describing flavor and stuff. And then here am I, you know, like working for you and like just learning from you, like amazing. And I have the chance also to help a bit as the grow site and stuff. So yeah, I'm learning so much from the plant. And since I have even my own plant at home, I'm like, I cannot live without a plant with me right now. Like it's not possible. Once you start, you cannot stop. You know, even if I'm traveling around, I'm gonna take an apartment and have a plant.
Are both of you growing right now as well? Not at the moment, but you did back home.
Yeah.
You're always growing.
Yeah, always growing. Living soil.
Yeah, man. Your story almost brought a little tear to my eye, man. You saved my ass, you know that, dude. You came down here. I needed help so bad.
Man, I'm
And
so
you
glad
offered
to
the
be
help.
there.
And if it wasn't for your help, I wouldn't have pulled through the past 4 months, man. So
No, man. I'm so glad to meet you, man.
it hasn't been
You
4
know?
months. It's been like two months, right?
No, man. It's
3
been
months?
since August I'm here.
Fuck, it has been about 4 months.
Yeah,
Fuck,
man.
man, that's crazy. Time flies.
Time flies.
Wow, yeah. And so you've got 2 harvests under your belt with me now.
To harvest. I've done a few harvests back in France, helping some friends.
Yeah.
But it's my first time getting involved in all the process.
Yeah.
And seeing, you know, learning so much from that side, because so much issues and stuff, and it's great to see that. Like when you learn that, after when you do the perfection, you're like, That's killer, you know.
Yeah, well, that for sure. You came to learn all of the mistakes first.
That's
so
the
that
way,
you wouldn't
the hard way.
replicate them. Yeah.
The hard way.
Yeah, we had microscopic mites invade our site, and russet mites are, they're really, really devour the hell out of your plants very quickly. You can't visually see them. You don't really know what's going on with your plant. We had a moment where we were trying to figure out what it was really. We thought it was the wrong thing, giving it the wrong treatment. We went through that together, remember?
Yeah.
Figuring out what the appropriate micronized sulfur concentration was, how to apply it.
And the edema, you remember when we said it was
we thought it was the wrong. Well, anyways, it was quite the journey we went through in the past 4 months, man. I think all three of you have like this really similar thing going on, where you are really just going with your gut, and you're really just following who you are.
The passion.
It's hard, and there's really few people on planet Earth that ever do that. Do you understand that? Ever do that? Like, I even feel like I'm still yet to get to where I want to get, because like, yeah, I've traveled and stuff, but like, I came because I just wanted better weed. I just wanted better weed, and I wanted to snowboard. That's why I came, right? And I definitely wanted to. Cannabis industry wasn't a thing back then. It wasn't like, I knew I wanted to grow, and I knew I wanted to trim, and I knew I wanted to hang with my buddies that did that here, because I already had friends that had come and did that for a living with Mexicans. So many Mexicans come, trim, make that, because you can work on that side of the industry. You don't need a... Cállese, cabrón. So basically, it's really cool to see people that like did it in these times, and that you actually have like not the kind of experiences that I had, right? Where I got...
Yeah, we are lucky because...
I got so many bad stories to tell that I won't tell, but like, it was really hard coming as an immigrant 20 years ago, and you know, being basically at the bottom of the food chain, and everybody not wanting to pay you right because you're a Mexican, and everybody wanting to, you know, you gotta find the right boss to pay you right, that to respect you, and not just use you. And there's so many of those cool Canadians that gave me that chance, where I was like, oh, you're not gonna just abuse me? Oh wow, because I worked for $6 an hour in this country.
Wow.
You know, yeah, I've done that. Yeah, man. It's I definitely love that there was a moment where it started to improve right around there, 2010. Really, I was like, oh, this could turn into a serious career. At the time, I considered myself an activist, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go back home to Mexico, because there's so much work to be done there, right? And I stayed more because of that marriage and because of that girl. And now that I like see the new generations coming in and like the stories and the experiences you're having, I'm like, man, this is one of the best parts of legalization. It's so beautiful, because like, I can't tell you how many times like a Mexican friend of mine would come and work for 2 years, have a stack of cash, RCMP stops them, all of it's gone, their family gets nothing, their debts, everything, they're fucked, they go back home, they're like, fuck. And that's their life, right? And some of them with penalties also going back home, and then you're gonna have to deal with the cops, you know, what's gonna happen back home. So it's like, just having you people here and like hearing how it's been going for you, why you did, like the fact that you came and you weren't escaping persecution, that's another thing that happens in Mexico. I know Brazil's also pretty bad.
It's very bad.
Las favelas is an internationally famous topic.
Yeah.
And even in Mexico, they say favela is more hardcore than any fucking neighborhood in Mexico, dude, pretty much.
It's a place that is a war zone all over the time.
Yeah, you can't go.
The persecution is very bad.
Yeah, no, you can't go. The warlords are in charge, and they all got lots of guns, and the cops don't go in there.
Only the army go there.
Yeah.
And really rarely.
So some people in Canada are people that were escaping gang persecution, and so, you know, it's important to recognize that we don't have. I sometimes, like I told you, I think to myself, because okay, I'll say this. I had a couple of friends of mine, close friends of mine, killed by cannabis-related transactions, right? They've gone to jail, shot, or assassinated. I even had one of my father's dealers who was a friend of mine who was assassinated in a very traumatic way, right? And those stories made me realize why my parents like telling my story that way, even though I don't see it because I'm not back home seeing that shit on the reg, right? But my parents always say that like if I hadn't gone, that it would have been very likely that I would have gone down of the path of so many of my high school friends that are now gone just because they like hash and weed, just because they like it, right? And a lot of them wanted to come to Canada. That's the other thing. There was a moment where it became more difficult for Mexicans to become Canadian, to migrate here. I don't know if they give you the visa charge. They charge us to...
Yeah, to
okay.
apply for a visa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That charge is a big deal because a lot of Mexicans don't have that money, right?
Exactly.
So it keeps the really poor people out.
Yeah.
Which is a really shitty thing that happened because those are oftentimes the people that need to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something you usually say, you have to almost buy your stay in Canada.
Yeah.
And it's just, you have to find a way to buy to stay. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I think the really important point I wanted to make, that the doors are open to this country to people of a very particular caliber.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and unless you're really seen as purely a victim, let's say you belong to a gang, but you gotta get out and your family's gotta get out. Like, are you not gonna be able to? As soon as they label you a criminal, and that's what happens to me a lot in Canada still to this day, they're like, Adolfo is like, that dude's been selling weed illegally, he's been growing weed illegally. I'm like, yeah, I have. But I did it like in the most ethical possible way that I could, organically, to patients that had medical licenses. I got part of the R&D community. Yes, I'm a criminal, because by traditional standards, I broke the law for the majority of my life.
You used to, you're not anymore.
Well, yeah, exactly. But think about it though. That time period until 2008, when I didn't have my work visa, like my father was helping me survive here, but I couldn't work, man. And so trimming and doing these kind of things like allowed me to be here, or I couldn't do it. And like I probably should have applied for permanent residence way earlier. The reason why I didn't do it is because I had fear of the government. I had major fear of the government, like this major fear of like what happens when I submit my permanent residence application and I have to answer all these questions about who I am, what I love, what I do, and then I have to lie to the government. I'd rather not lie to the government, man. So that's why it kept me away for so long. I was like, I don't want to lie. I'm a good person, and like I don't want to be this person that's like.
Because they ask you, what are you doing?
Yeah. But I actually wasn't working legally that much. I was just putting enough food on my table to survive. You know, the majority of the work that I did was on campus, which I was allowed to do, but it paid very little, and those opportunities were just weren't there. Cannabis is what I love to do, and people like. To be frank with you, 90% of the time I get paid in weed. Because I couldn't afford my weed. So I'd get to the site and I'd be like, don't give me money, give me my meds. Happy to get that, because then they give you more. I'm gonna spend my money on that weed anyways, give me more of that weed. So yeah, it's just so nice that none of you have to struggle like that. And I know it's still a struggle, because shit's not easy, man. Getting here, setting up, I know you say it's easy, man, but you know, it's you like you say, it's personality, but it definitely takes a lot of courage. And it takes landing on your feet in a good place. You gotta know that you came to a time and a place that was ready for you, and you're now like in a place where you can, if you choose, you can go as far as you want, really. Yeah. Right? It takes a lot of a lot of dedication, especially to go from retail to other sectors. But you'll find that like making your name in retail will open those other doors for you. They want you. That LP's gonna want you. They're gonna want that regional representative for their sales force. They're going to want that person that understands the cultivar and knows how to talk about it, right? So you all started in retail, right? You also doing a little bit of growing, but retail, and you're doing home growing and home squishing. So
it's the hobbyist, man.
Yeah. Hobbyists, isn't it beautiful though that you can have those hobbies and that there's zero breaking of the law?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a real nice thing.
Yeah.
Speaking about hobbies.
Dude, let's do it.
Let's spark that.
Let's do it, bro.
Let's do it.